Hello, my name is Andrea Sanchez and I am in the Child Growth class. It's at 11 o'clock on Thursdays. It's Internet Assistant with Miss Vaughn, and I have kindergarten through 4th grade, which was in Bio Meadow Elementary, and this is in Jacksonville. The teacher for the kindergarten was Doris Delph. For 1st grade, it was Crystal Kinsley. For 2nd grade, it was Patricia Gibbs. For 3rd grade, it was Michelle Turner. For 4th grade, it was Laura Linder. And 5th grade, I did it at Sylvan Hills Elementary, and this is in Sherwood. And the teacher for that was Stacy Grant. And for 6th grade, I went to Mount Vernon Elementary, and it's in Mount Vernon. And I had Stephanie Engloth. And for the kindergarten inclusive school, I went to a kindergarten, the Pathfinders, and that is in Jacksonville, and the teacher for that was Lucas Smith. For kindergarten, which was Miss Delph, she's a very interesting person. I mean, the kids had so much fun. It was just 8 o'clock in the morning, but she got them so energized up to like here. And they were doing multiplications, they were doing their spelling words. They did so much in just that 1 hour I was there. They were constantly just moving, and she was having them just do jumping jacks and then playing games and just playing so much games of running around and multiplication and having to jump on colored squares. I mean, it was just, she did so much in just 1 hour. It was amazing. The kids never got bored. One of the things that could be a grow in that classroom was that there was a lot of boxes laying around. Maybe she was packing some stuff or unpacking some stuff. But there was just boxes laying around in everywhere. So when the children were trying to do all these activities, it was kind of difficult for them at points. She obviously saw there was a problem, so she moved them to the boxes to the side. But I just wish that wouldn't have had to interfere with the learning. But I mean, she picked it back up. I mean, they were all learning and having fun, so it was all good. For the 1st grade, it was Miss Kinsley, and this was a very organized class. I mean, I walked in there and it was spotless. Children were sitting down. There was no talking at all. They were all writing down their spelling words. Could have been because it was 8 in the morning, but they were writing their spelling words in rainbow colors. So they were having lots of fun with that. I could see them just sitting there trying to pick out the color for each letter and stuff. So they were having lots of fun with that. They did spelling words. They went over the words. Then they had their spelling test. So they did a lot of stuff just in that 1 hour. And then at the end of it, I got to walk them out to have recess. So I got to watch them interact with other children for about 5 minutes or so. But it was a really good experience. I mean, everything was spotless, so I have nothing to say about a grow. I mean, that teacher had everything well organized and knew exactly the schedule and everything. For the 2nd grade, it was Miss Patricia Gibbs. I mean, let me tell you, this was my favorite class out of all the observations. My all-time favorite class for everything. I mean, I walk in, and the first thing you see is a huge tree house. She actually had a tree house in the room. The room was, it wasn't that big, but it was significantly, like, maybe like a center, as big as a center should be. And she had it to where it was steps that you could go up the steps, and they were able to read there, and that was kind of like the book center is what she called it. So it was really cool, and the kids had lots of fun. I mean, they were doing lots of peer tutoring. Before they asked her for anything, they would ask their peers, the people in the table. So I thought that was really neat, that whole way of teaching them. So she was really energetic, really cool. I mean, it was my favorite class out of all of them because of just the peer tutoring and just seeing other children teach other children. The next one is the 3rd grade, and this was Miss Turner. When I walked in, I saw there was it was a little bit of chaotic, just because there was a child that was having difficulty concentrating and comprehending what was going on and what he was supposed to be doing. So it was a lot of chaos, so the teacher was constantly stopping and trying to look over to the child and try to explain to the child what's going on. but she would kind of have be getting onto him for not comprehending what's going on. So that's one of the things that I would have changed in that. While she was getting on to this child, I mean, the rest of the children were getting unconcentrated and didn't know what was going on. So then they lost their focus, and their focus just went out. So, she finally called the principal. The principal came and got him, and then took him to the office to work on the project that they were doing. They were cutting, they were using their scissors, they were using their glue, so the kids had lots of fun with that. But like I said, it was constantly stopping. So I would have changed that. Unfortunately, I mean, this whole took up about 45 minutes of just constantly stopping, getting onto the child until she took him to the office. So, I mean, yeah. So I would have changed that. For 4th grade, it was Miss Linder. It was very cool. I walked in and they were doing a science experiment. They were starting it, and I got to watch them play with balloons and try to see like the friction. They would rub it on their head and their hair would stick up, so they were having lots of fun with that. I mean, they were having to write down the results and find items that would have that static with the balloon, just like their hair would. So it was really fun for the children. They all had lots of fun. I mean, they were all laughing and having such a good time. So it was a really good environment. The teacher was really good at explaining what was going on, and the kids were very easily picking up the pace and knowing what they were supposed to do. For the 5th grade in Sylvan Hills, it was Stacy Grant, Miss Grant. She was a very awesome teacher. I mean, all the kids loved her and they respected her, and you could see how much they all loved her. I mean, they were just all constantly, she would walk by and just hug them, and just, I mean, you could tell that there was that respect, and every child, they would compliment each other. So it was a really good environment for the children. They were all complimenting each other in their work. So you could tell that she was implementing all of this stuff. So it was a really good environment to walk into. They were reading a book and they were actually listening to the intercom or stereo that they had in the system that they had in the classroom, and they were listening to the stereo read the book. So she had a CD to it, so it was very easy for the kids. I mean, I saw most of them just sitting there reading along with their finger, so you could tell that they were all paying attention. So it was really good, and actually had got to be there for the ending of the book, and they were all like, "Oh!" So you could tell that they were all engaged in the book, and they were sad that it was ending. So it was a really good environment. I mean, very happy. The teacher was very loving. So I really liked that about that. For the 6th grade, it was Miss Ingloth for the Mount Vernon Elementary School, and the class was very organized. Again, everything was spotless. They were 6th graders, so they had all this stuff organized. They got to play games, and they got to do vocab, and they got to talk to their peers and communicate with them. She would constantly be reading from the book, and she would go back and say, "All right, now I want you to discuss with your peers what you think about it." So I really thought that the fact that she implemented the whole talking to their peers and comparing answers and helping each other was really good, because instead of, I saw a lot of kids getting the wrong answer. Instead of saying that, they were like, "Hey, but you did awesome. I mean, you did good on this question and this question, even though you got that one wrong, but it's okay because we're just changing it because we're doing peer talking right now." So I thought it was really cool. Instead of just giving them a straight, just the teacher grading it, they got to do the peer talk, and so it was a very organized place, very happy. So I really liked that. For kindergarten, I did the kindergarten for the inclusive school in Pathfinders. Lucas Smith was the main teacher, and there was another one. I didn't get to get the person's name. But this was really good. I mean, all the children listened. They were playing with paint. All the kids had fun. I mean, I wouldn't have even tell that there was people with disorders in that class. So it was very good. I really enjoyed it. There was really no growth because everything was just spotless and everything was awesome. So the whole overfeel of this, I learned a lot from this. I was able to catch a lot of strategies and stuff that I could do in my future class. So it was a really good, I'm so glad I went to all these schools and I decided to do all of this. I really enjoyed it. So thank you for listening to me.